Okay. Uh, okay. Please scan for attendance. Oh my God. How do I move this panel away? Um,
There should be an option to make it disappear whenever it's like active.
okay. Let's make it a bit smaller. I will say scan. Okay, hope everyone has been able to scan attendance. So let's get started. Right, where did we stop? Okay, let's recap the content for last week. So for last week, what we have done is we used tile map to be able to make this basically the map. This map is not very complicated and doesn't really require the use of tile map. But anyways, I introduced you all to this node called tile map where you can easily make the map. And so that's basically okay. If you look at the game node, there's a something called tile map here. So this tile map is where we define the map. And in the tile map, there are two parts, the tile map and the tile set. So basically, the tile set is where you define the resources to your tile map. And then the tile map tab is where you define your map, which is basically take the tiles out and put it into the map. We also went through another node, the UI node. It basically, so in this UI node, what you have is basically a health bar, and then you can, and this health bar basically indicates the health of the player. And the way that we make it to indicate the health of the player is to via scripts. So if you look at the script, health in the health bar, basically there's a function called update value where the value is becoming a new value. And what we do is we make the player to call this value. So what happens is whenever the player take damage, the player is gonna call is try to access the health bar and then update value, which is basically calling the function that we define. Um, and we also learned another node called the animation player. So that's basically the file. Basically, what the situation that we encounter is that the animation that we have, the positions are very out of place. So we need to use animation to adjust the position of the frames. But for this particular node, what you you can use it for anything else, not just position, but anything else that you want to do with the nodes. Basically, we use animation player to play the animation instead of the automated animation sprite animation. So I hope that should summarize what we went through for last week. Okay, so for this week, it's gonna be a light one. So I'll just go through basically background and then object cleanup and well, let me check. Is there anything else I need to go through?
Not no, wait, that's
Background, object cleanup, and restart. Okay, so
like this and then like scroll down into everything is the same. Yes, here is stand up. Wait, it should be.
oh, you need to go to oh, you need to go to the map. Yeah. Then okay.
Yeah.
And then you click on the file map. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So let's get started for today. So basically, we put background. We go through game restart and object cleanup. I think with the content we have already gone through for the last 3 weeks, we should be able to do all this. So we just put whatever we have done for the last the concept that we went through for last week into practice. So first is okay. Let's go through object cleanup. Okay, let's try to play our game and see what's happening. So again, if you want to track the objects that are present in the current scene, what you can do is when you're playing the game, you go back to the editor and then you go to remote. So basically, remote will tell you what are the nodes being present. Like, let's say you instantiate a new node inside the script, for example, then this is where it appears. So you open the plank, we have the plank, the enemy, we have tile map, a player health bar, and then you look, there's a bunch of bullets being instantiated. So these bullets, right, when it goes out the screen, it's not gonna be killed. It's just gonna continue to exist. So just remember, if something goes out of the camera, it's not gonna disappear. It's just gonna continue existing. You can see, right, after a while, there are gonna be a lot of bullet objects. And what happens is, let's say if this project is very light, but let's say if your project is very heavy, and let's say the game can last for like 10 minutes. So imagine after 10 minutes, how many bullets are going to be generated, right? So after 10 minutes, then basically, there's a lot of bullets and then your game might crash at some point. So this is where you need to do basically object cleanup. So if the bullet goes off the screen, we need to queue free it. So there are two approaches to this. One is to use a timer, because in this case the bullet is just gonna travel outwards in like, and then let's say after like 5 seconds it's gonna disappear, for example. So that's one way. Another way is to detect the position of the bullet and see whether it's out the screen or not. So let's try to timer, because it's simpler, right? So let's go to fire. Okay, and what you can do is we add child node, and then we add a timer, and then this timer we can name it existent timer. Okay, and then this existent timer, basically what we're gonna do is it should be one shot, because basically it only times for once. And then the wait time, we want the bullet, say, to exist for only 5 seconds. We put it as 5 seconds, and then it should auto start. So basically, when the moment that this fire object goes into the scene, this existence timer should start. Okay, and then this existence timer, we attach a timeout signal. So we go to, when we select the existence timer and then click on node, we double click on the timeout signal and then connect to the fire script. And you should see a new function pops up, and there should be an icon here to indicate that it's being connected. So in this body, what we want to do is we just want queue free. Okay, wait. I think I'm doing on the wrong node. It's supposed to be the bullet node, not the fire. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, let's delete. Oh yeah, so let's delete the fire node. Delete the existing timer of fire node. Let's add it for the bullet node instead. Child node timer, and then existent timer. And then inspector, I should change it to 5 seconds, one shot, auto start. Attach the timeout on the bullet node, and then should queue free. Okay, let's try and see whether. Okay, again, I want to monitor what are the objects being present in this scene. So I go to remote. So after 5 seconds, this bullet should disappear. Yes, it disappeared. This one should disappear soon. Yes. Yeah, so basically you can see that there's a limited number of bullets within the scene. So this way you can limit the number of bullets in your scene and make sure that it doesn't crash when after let's say you survive the game for 10 minutes and there are a lot of bullets in the scene.
Or even if you just leave it running in the background.
If you leave it running in the background, right? Because you remember.
You're gonna die, but like, yeah.
Okay, actually I tried that before, but there's another game that I made. It's basically there are a lot of bullets being generated, and each second there's like 10 bullets being generated. What happens is after a while, right, the game becomes very like.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That even if you were to just die and leave the game, and your game still becomes if you didn't queue free.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's object cleanup. Okay, next is we can try to do a background. So what you can do for background is Okay, anyone has any idea of doing background?
Um, I I think we just went into the game mode and stretched the image across it.
Again?
It's been like couple of weeks now, lots of weeks in fact. But I think what we did was we went to the game node into 2D and just placed the image into that on the backmost layer.
Okay, so okay, let's try to
I don't know.
okay, so let's try to create a static background first.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with static background. What we can do for static background is we just add a node and then add sprite, and then put that node into the game.
That's what.
Okay, so let's let's create in the map folder, and then I'm going to add a new scene. Let's call this background. Okay, and let's add child node. This one should be okay. It's static anyway. What we gotta do is we gotta move the node of the background node instead of moving the sprite. So anyways, the sprite is gonna be static, right? Because there's gonna be only one frame. So what we can do is we just add a sprite, right? And in the sprite, texture. What we do is I haven't imported the assets. Okay, wait, give me a second. Let me copy the assets over. Space, background.
Can I ask what's an import file?
What's an import file? It's basically the file that's generated by Godot engine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back over here. So in the space background, if you already put in the assets folder, it should be imported. So let's put that here. And let's try to. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move the sprite node. And then I'm gonna scale the sprite.
You're moving only the sprite.
Yeah. Okay, just so you know, this background is basically a continuous background. So what is, let's say if you put this image and then you copy it over and put it over there, then it's gonna be a continuous one. So yeah. So what we can do is okay, let's put this into the game mode first. So let's go back to game. Wait. What's my game scene? Yeah, let me close the other scenes. Give me a second. Okay, so in the game node, what you can remember to instantiate the scene in the game node, what you can do is instantiate child scene and then search for the background. Okay, actually, let's name this to background with the capital B. Hello. Okay, so we have added the background. So let's try to see what's happening. So if you play, you can see there's only the background, some bullets firing. So can anyone tell me why is this happening? Why can't we see the wrong layer? What do you mean by that?
I want to know.
Okay. Okay, so the way let's say, let's ask ourselves, like, let's say if there are two overlapping nodes that are not under the same collision layer, basically like they can overlap, right? So how does Godot determine which one goes first and which one is at the bottom?
Alphabetical order.
It's basically by the order of the nodes that are the child. So basically, if the node is in front, is at the top, then it's gonna be behind.
Oh.
So let's say if the player node is behind is on top of the background in the tree, it's basically we're going to be behind the background. So what we want to do is we want background to be behind everything, right? So what we do is we shift the background to the top. So you can see the editor is going to be the same as well. Yeah, so we have already had a static background. So what we want to do is we want to make a dynamic background. So what we do is what we first clone this background to be okay. What we do is we try to make another, we clone this node, and then we're gonna put over here. And then when the background moves to the left, we see the next node, right? If it moves to this position, then we're gonna clone itself to the left again, so that basically the background become continuous, right? So
I have a question. Why do you make your background the earliest thing? Shouldn't you just have no background? So that would be better for the Zoom meeting. I mean,
wait, sorry again.
for the
Oh, you mean
Zoom.
like the background for one word is better?
Yeah.
No, I mean it doesn't really matter because I'm sharing screen with.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's try to do that. So in the background, let's create a script. Okay, and then in the script, what we do is okay. So what we do is we try to detect the position of this node. So the idea is, let's say if the background is at this position 0, 0, then we're gonna duplicate the node to we're gonna duplicate the node, right? But remember, if it's at this particular position 0, 0, right, it may not pass that point. Like let's say the last frame is gonna be at 1, 0, and the next frame is gonna be at -1, 0. So it's gonna pass by the 0, 0 point without actually being at that, without cloning the background. Right? So what we want to do is we want to give it a range. So okay, so and then we want to check that relation for every frame. So what we do is function process. Okay, so if position dot x, this is basically to read the position x coordinate of position. Okay, so what I do is if position x is within a range, so let's say position is smaller or equal to 5, and position dot x is greater than or equal to -5, and then we're gonna clone. Okay, let's call the method. Let's put a method called clone, and then we're gonna define clone. Okay, so function clone. So what we do is we okay, before we clone, to clone basically we need to define the class and then instantiate the class first, right? What I do is we declare the class with preload. So background constant background is equal to preload, and then we load the background scene itself. So let's put this background scene over here, and then what we do is bar background is equal to background dot instantiate. And then what we do is we put this background into the scene, right? So we don't want to put it as a child node of this background. We want to put it as child of the parent, right? So what we do is get parent dot get child add child background. And then remember, we simply add, but we need to define the position, right? So position is basically the difference. So what the position of the background is, we want it to be at,
Yeah, no, continue.
okay, so we want this position to be, okay, let's say if the position of this background is here, we want it to be somewhere here, right? And then the difference in x coordinate is going to be between, is basically the width of the spine.
Yeah.
So what we do is, okay, let's go back to script. And then, okay, before we add child, right? Background dot position is dot x is equal to position dot x plus, okay, let's get the sprite node. Okay, and I do not remember how to get the width. Give me a moment.
But
Oh, wait, background. Position with, okay, texture. Okay, texture, get width. Okay. Okay, let me copy paste the code and explain. Okay, so get with sprite 2D, get with, and then sprite 2D times sprite 2D dot scale minus, okay. Okay, let's just try with get with first and see what's gonna happen.
can you show me like code once?
Okay, so this is the whole code. So basically background, the new background node position is going to be equal to this position plus sprite 2D texture.get. Okay, before we test out, right, remember, let's say if we have multiple frames within, okay, let's say our computer is very high level, is gonna pass by the range -5 and 5 within like multiple frames. Let's say this frame will be 5, next frame will be 4, 3, 2, 1. So remember, so imagine like that, right? Then multiple new background nodes are gonna be instantiated, right? What I want to do is only want to instantiate a new background only
Wait,
once.
wait, can you show me last one of the code I can? Yeah, thanks. This one. So sorry. Thank you.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to, okay, so what we want to do is we want to instantiate only one new background per background. Okay, so what we do is var instant new background instantiated is false. And then what happened is we first check if not new background instantiated, then we're gonna instantiate this new background. And then we set new background instantiate to be true. So this will make sure that we only instantiate this background for once. Okay, the last thing before we test out is you remember that we only made a static background. So what we want to do is we want to make a dynamic background. So to make sure that it moves to the left, we need to move this node itself. So let's define a speed. Let's say is equal to 2. And then um position of x minus equal is basically make to move it to the left, plus equal basically it moves to the right. So minus equal speed times delta. Remember, delta is basically the delta is basically the time difference between each frame. So you add delta, basically it ensures that the behavior is going to be the same regardless of the number of frames per second for each for any machine. So that should be okay. Let's test it out and see whether there's any error. Oh my god, relegate position from base no instance. Mhm. Mm.
Hey, mine's working for some. I mean, it's not really working, but it didn't crash.
Oh, let me see. Invalid get position. Oh, so in yours working, but
Is it like you put like a new layer on top of like
Yeah.
okay, that's interesting. Background. Wrong position. Oh, maybe background of position. Let's see. Let's see. I am not sure. Background position. And then the game layer. I'm not gonna print the health because it's distracting. Okay, let's see what is printed. Okay, I'll put your background. Okay, wait. Let me see. Wait. This should actually cost a lot.
use creates like a new background for it. That's the
And you can see the player jumping off when if you go to the left.
no, because the left is the still open.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think maybe because you all move the background, so lots. Right, maybe you all move the background low. I think I understand what's happening, but yeah, give me a moment and shift it to the left. Okay, should behave the same as okay. Okay, anyways. So what happened is when you instantiate the new background, right? Well, so if you basically you understand why it stacks on top of other nodes. Because basically if you in the game node, right, what happened is
Oh, you.
yeah, it's at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, one thing is I think this speed is a bit too slow, so I'm gonna increase it to let's say 20. Okay, so actually, okay, there's an inherent problem to this. So what you should do is basically instead of instantiating the new background within the background class itself, what you should do is you should instantiate in another class. So what I do is you can rename this background to background image. Okay, and let's rename this node to it's renamed to background image. Okay, and then okay, in the game node, what you do is okay, so it should be background image, and then this new basically you should remove the dependency of the background image on the game. Basically the game's dependency on the background image. And then what you do is you create a new scene called
Okay, we rename
background.
the scene as background image.
Hmm?
We rename the scene as background image.
Yeah, sure. I mean, up to you all. Okay, so this new background scene, what we do is we instantiate the background image within background. You all understand what's going on, right? Okay, so in this background, we attach a script, And where should be background? Okay, let's not attach. Okay, weapon is I just attached the script to the background.gd, but okay, let's detach script. Okay, actually what I want to do is I attach this script to a new background. Okay, let's call this background manager so that a new script is attached to this background. And okay, so okay, let's delete the clone method and we're just gonna keep the background moving. Okay. So, oh, why is the player node also disappear? Okay, let me re-instantiate the player node as well. So, instantiate scene player. Okay, and in add child node, the instantiate child scene background as well. Okay, and let's move this background to the top so that it appears behind everyone.
Wait, will you show me everything you just did?
Sorry.
Basically, what did you just do after renaming it to background image?
Okay, so after I remade the background image, what I do is I just keep the script to change the position of the background only. And then I have a background node where okay, I think I should be instantiating. Okay, wait, basically I add another background node that's gonna instantiate the background images as its child. And then what I do is in the game node, I instantiate the background node as a child node, and it's gonna be on top.
So we say this background node also at the back preferably, right?
Right.
We like rename add this background node under the like map tool also.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I'm going to rename this. Should I rename the script of the old background to background images?
And the script don't have to be, I mean, technically can be named, but you have to reattach the script.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Actually, let me just show you how. Let's say you want to rename the script, right? Then what happens? Okay, this background, right? It's supposed to be renamed as background node. Background. Okay, this background script. What we need to do is we okay, rename, and let's rename this to background image. Background image. Okay, actually, if you rename in Godot, then everything's gonna work fine. So the script will still be attached. Okay, but let's say, okay, let's just assume let's assume you don't know how to rename in the editor, and then you go to you edit directly in the file explorer. So let's go to map, and then let's rename background. Okay, this background dimension is supposed to be named background. Has to match with the scene name. Okay. Reload background image. Let's close background, attach script. Background manager. There's no background manager. Okay, where give me a second. Background, and background scene. If I open. Okay, so there's gonna be okay. The thing is that if you hover over this icon, right, it's gonna show you that the script being attached is background manager. But what happens is this script, right, basically does not exist. So what you need to do is right click on the background node and then detach script, and then reattach it to background. Basically, when you try attach script, right, and then you try to type the name, basically normally what it says, what the message here says is that it's gonna create a new script, but in this case it's gonna load an existing script. So in case if you don't know, right, you can reuse the script for multiple nodes. So this is the way for you to reuse the script for multiple nodes. Yeah. So I'm gonna load. Yeah, so it should be attached to the background script. And okay, what I do is, okay, function ready. And then what I do is I'm gonna instantiate a new background node. So first is to load the background using preload. And then the background. Okay, let's name this background image. Okay, and what we do is background is equal to background image dot instantiate, and then add child background. Okay, and let's save. And then in this background, okay. And then in the background image, you can delete the line to preload the image. So let's play and see what's happening. Yeah, and so there should be a background being loaded. Okay, one thing that I forgot to load is if you go into the game scene, there's no blank, so I will re-instantiate the blank scene. And then move this blank to the position. Yeah, so everything should be there. Okay, but after a while,
Yeah,
the background is gonna run out. Okay, anyone reading the state of the game?
yeah.
No.
Yeah, just yeah.
Do you guys know what's happening after this?
Yes.
Yeah. You know?
Oh,
You know?
it's the game then.
Yeah. It's very good. Are you guys coming?
Of course.
Good.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah. Speaking. Yeah. Are you coming?
I mean, I might be busy.
Good. I see you there. Yes. You know, you know what? We find game and activity. Have you seen our last year came to refine nature?
No, I see.
So last year, Semco as in 2023 or 2022.
Oh, last I can year is 2020.
Yeah,
This year,
Yeah.
the January year.
yeah, exactly. The club is about to die. Your club is about to die.
This Godot site is usually fully followed up.
Yeah, no. What I wanted to say is the Unity announcement. You know, did you not hear the Unity?
They're gonna charge for every installation.
Yeah. Yeah. These are for the Unity guys.
Yeah, you must convince them to go to Godot side.
I mean, we don't need to help you.
The thing is big goal.
Okay, do you know what the next week do? So next section is.
Project dev stuff we were told.
Level 1 game.
Next.
Oh,
Level you have level 1 the start of the so we'll like everyone will be kind of like gathering either here or the community side, and then we'll split everyone into like groups of 6, and that will be your group to make a team for like the next half of the semester. So events will get together with like artists, the music people, and the team will be announced. Yeah.
Okay, so do you research it?
Next week is week 6, so it's not this week.
Which one is the actually?
So you're forming teams next week.
Basically, a forming team from kind of identifying what team we want to pick. Yeah. So before next week, we need to detail how this game out.
Oh, should I teach later then?
That's what
Like-
we
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I think later I just go to
This
yeah,
is
because
going
like
to be the third time we got the hub in this 1 month.
I yeah.
but how do I demo GitHub? We just create a new hello. Okay, so where did
Okay, but before that, I like to make an announcement to everybody. Okay, I mean, there's definitely gonna be. You made it? Man.
we have Game Jam just now.
Oh, okay, yeah. So here's the shirt. For anyone who submits the game jam, again during the game jam, they will receive shirts.
Wait, let me turn off the.
So don't worry about not getting a size in that 3XL. But we don't have XL or XXL for some reason. But okay.
We had a Telegram poll on the sizes, and 30 people rated, so we're like, okay, that's enough. By central limit here, you just.
So,
30 people said triple XL. 30 people asked for triple XL.
1%. So we have 6 people.
yeah, I know XL. Yeah, so you did, and hopefully you all have like try as much problem again. Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yes, hackers gave me a t-shirt for just going to the interview.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think we should do that for your goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
wait, where did we leave off? Okay, so basically we just have a background, moving background. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to. Okay, so what we want to do is okay, we want to see whether wait, this is the game. This is the game script. Okay, background. Okay. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to see whether this background is within the range that we can instantiate a new scene. So
Wait, can you show me the other background script? Sorry.
the background image script. Okay. Wait, this should be close. Background image.
Okay, yeah, no, this is fine. Back to the other one, please. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Okay. So wait. Okay, let's try. Okay. Background image shades. Wait, give me a second. Background image. Background image. Background. Okay. 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 So what we do is we're gonna instantiate the background images within the background node. So okay, let's run the game again and then see what's happening, right? So in the remote, in the game, there's a background node. A background. Okay, it should be this background node. Then under this background node, there's a background image node that contains a sprite. So that's the structure of the nodes as of now. So what I do is we want to. Okay, let's close the game. Okay, so what I want to do is, when this background runs out of, let's say within the range, then we're gonna instantiate the new background. So what I do is, we have a var background, and then we need to store this. We basically have to remember this background that we're instantiating. And then within each frame, we ask whether this background is in range. So if background is in range, okay, to define is in range, we're gonna go to background image and define the is in range method. So function is in range, return position.x smaller than or equal to 5, and position.y.x is greater than or equal to -5. So that's the definition of is in range. Then the background. So if background is in range, what you do is we're gonna instantiate a new background. Background image dot instantiate. And then we're gonna add child background. And then remember the function process should have a delta.
This should be back is in range function again.
Is in range. Basically, we check whether its position, the x coordinate is within 5 and -5. Okay, I hope everyone is able to follow. So under background script, we see whether if it's in range, we're gonna instantiate the new background. And then what you do is we add child, we background add child. Okay, can anyone tell me this with this script, right? Is there any moment that multiple backgrounds are going to be generated? Basically, the backgrounds are going to be spammed. Is there any instance that you're going to have?
Uh, mm, I think when it's within the range, it's going to start making more.
Yeah, okay. Let's say if the background is going to be at 5, the next range is going to be at 4, right? So it's still going to be in range.
Yeah.
So is that the case where multiple backgrounds are going to be generated within that consecutive range?
Yeah.
No, actually not.
What? No.
Because basically we reassign the background to the new instance.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Okay, the thing is, what we need to do is we need to make sure that this background, right, is gonna be okay. Wait. Okay, the thing is this code is not working yet. Okay. The thing is, what we need to do is we need to make sure that this new background is going to be at the right position. So to make sure that it's at the correct position, we mark this background as new background first. And then what I do is this new background is gonna be dot position is dot x is equal to background dot position dot x plus new background dot get node sprite 2D dot texture dot width. Am I doing right? Okay, let's search in texture. Right? There's no texture. Give me, oh, texture is not a method. Texture is a okay. So what I did just now is this new background, right, is gonna be equal to background position.x, which is the same position as which is the position of the background of the current background image. And then I'm gonna add it to the width of the sprite. So what happened is what I did was, let's say let's say this is origin. And then this is the current background. And then let's say this is version of the background, of the current background. So what I do is we make sure that the new background is here. So to make sure that the new background is here, what I do is we take the current version of the background, and then we're gonna add to the sprite, the width of the sprite, so that the new background version is here. And then once version of new background is here, basically the new background sprite is gonna look something like this. So it's basically perfectly match the position. You get the idea. Okay. So let's try out, and there's definitely a bug. And why do I say so? Okay, let's try and see what's happening. Oh my god. In valid corner existent with on base compressed non-existent compressed texture 2D should be get width if I remember correctly. Okay, yeah, it should be get width. Okay, let's try again. Background base. Oh, and it's not being added. Oh, I'm not sure what's happening. Okay, add child background, new background. Let's go to background. New background, get both sprite to get texture. Is a new background not very obvious? New background. Let's check the remote. Oh, new background is not being instantiated. Process range add child. Okay. Oh, wait. It's supposed to be add child of new background. Background moving and new background is added. New background is added. And then the background is going to be added. Oh, wait, okay. One line I forgot is new background. After I already instantiate a new background, so I need to update the reference to the background, right? So basically, background will be equal to new background. Okay, let's try. The new background will be generated, and then new background will be generated again, but not at the correct position. No, new background is not being generated. Oh, yes, it is being generated.
Mine isn't being generated.
Wait, give me a moment. This one be generated again. Is it? It is finally generated. Okay. Let me see why the background you run and let me see what's just
Yeah.
remote game background. Oh, this one is you use you're using a background image, not the actual. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to add the extension the wrong C. What?
I don't need to yes, cool. Yes. So the little question for who is it? Yes, you can do it. And you have like all friends, like all the copies. The only difference is when you attack signals, you need to manually type in the signal. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so thing that you need to take note is, okay, this texture dot get width, right? It basically only get the actual width before you scale. Okay, wait.
See, delete the whole background.
No, you still can keep it further. Like, oh, I mean like in the game,
Yeah.
you delete the board, you open it.
Yep.
And then you the inside it, you leave inside it.
Wait, I think instead of its saturated background image, I should have its saturated background because background equals background.
And then background essentially is the background image.
Yeah, but background image just contains this. Okay. And my background contains actually all the other stuff. So which one should I instantiate with?
Really? Background.
Contains all this stuff.
Background contains all the stuff there, so you should instantiate the background, not background.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm pretty sure you can do this.
Usually can do what?
I'm pretty sure you can just enable. Oh, maybe not here. But
Wait, really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do this. Then all of this is not there. I can't see all the texture.
Are you sure that the first simple as that?
I'm pretty sure. Okay. Let me take a look.
I don't think it works that way.
No?
Let's see.
Yeah.
This.
And now to something really big up.
Oh, wait. Huh?
Shift and
No. This should be how you do it. No. Let me continue playing with it.
but this. Okay, now is in range is non-existent because for some reason background image is in this new background image is
One from. Okay. Or maybe oh, because the background is you shouldn't be declaring for it.
okay.
Basically, you are assigning this new instance of background to the field instead.
Okay. So I move from here. This one I remove.
Okay.
This one I remove.
No, like you remove this bar. Like
Okay.
then you just say background. No, like you don't delete the entire thing. You just delete the bar keyboard.
Okay.
Mine says that it's a non-existent function.
We're trying to find this function.
It says that at 8.
Background image means you just drag the GD script. You're supposed to drag, you see this dot GD, but you're supposed to drag this dot script.
Oh, okay.
I think you just change the
Yeah.
extension to dot script.
Yeah, it's like not-
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Just show the code for both of them once.
Both of them one. So okay, background.
Okay, you can just do that. Okay.
Background image you need.
Yep. Oh, I get it. I forgot to minus sign in the code. Now it's working.
Yes.
It's working.
Yours working.
Yeah. I mean, mine looks more giant, but it's still working.
This one is right. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so is that a way to do it?
It's like the background. Okay.
And try again. Vision enabled or something like that. And then text. Right. One. I guess it's just gone now. Is it? Unless it's like 100, 200. No, it's not. Edit vision. Okay. No, still not doing it. It's something around here. Something like
What do you want to do? Do you want it to like scale proportionally?
region and region. Right, this expression, sorry. With, okay. There we go. This works, right?
But I mean, let's say you want to make it.
Ah, ah. It's infinite now. I guess it's infinite now. Okay. This is
Just
no.
put one divided by
This good attempt. No, there should be other ways to do that also.
just put a slash like next to one of the zeros.
This thing will crash is good if I continue adding zeros. Yeah. There is something. There is some definitely something.
The last one again, the last quarter minutes, then I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, but hmm, wait, is there what's that called? Parallax layer, is it? It should be something. Okay, wait. This one requires what? Parallax layer.
Oh, I think around this now. This actually I think this is
This, I mean, maybe not like
I have no
like,
idea.
like
I
this
mean,
lah.
the one
But,
who released here apparently contacted me
that's
that he
just
wouldn't able to go.
increase.
That's
Scroll
Yeah,
layer. I feel something around this, something that I got to do with this.
I really have no
Yeah.
idea
I
how people can come. I guess week 5 it picked up with maybe I don't know.
transform. I'm pretty sure this is the way I do.
Yeah,
The way that you're doing now is doing it
on
reinventing the wheel.
Sunday, good thing and
You're
Tuesday
just
I had to pick up
reinventing the
content
wheel right now.
to try and complete my electrical engineering.
when use Godot in a few months. Okay, anyways, so let's continue where were we? Oh, the background. Okay, so basically, well, so remember the texture of width, get width is basically just the width before you scale. So if you go to the 2D scene and then you go to okay, the sprite, right? This sprite is basically zoom out texture, but to transform. Transform, yeah. So basically before you scale, that's the width before the scale. So what you need to do is you need to multiply by the scale as well. So, okay, let's make this new line so that the line is not too long. This is the way, okay, yes. And then this is gonna multiply by the new background dot get node sprite 2D dot scale dot x. Okay, so let's try.
Almost perfect.
Almost perfect. Yes, you are right.
Maybe we should do like a -0.1 or something.
Yeah, so what you do is basically can minus the speed of, okay, let's declare the same speed. Okay, what you can do is you can export the speed out of background and then import this speed in the background. Okay, out of background image and inside and into the background. But for time interest, let's just redeclare the speed constant, then minus speed times delta. This basically accounts for the offset in the shift of the background for every frame. Okay, let's try. And now the shift should be perfect. Yeah, there's no gap in between already.
Technically, we will have to. Are we going to have to clean this also as an object?
Yes, we need to clean it as well. So, okay, the cleaning, I'll leave it as an exercise for you. So,
That's what I was saying. No thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, object cleaning. Basically, the image, right? Let's say you imagine you play this game for 10 minutes, then there's also going to be a lot of background. So you can do object cleaning as well. Okay, okay, last thing is, I don't remember what's the last thing I'm supposed to do. Restart. Okay, so one last thing we want to do is want to do a restart of the game. So let's say if the player dies, right? Now what it does is the game is just gonna stall there and then like there's nothing happening. Right? What I want to do is want to restart the game. So what we can do is, okay, any idea of how to restart the game?
Start the code again by putting it all in loop.
Start the code again.
That's not what I meant. Like, I mean, it said root node, the game node, so restart the game node.
Yeah. That's the idea. So what you do is we create the parent of the game node as a root node, and then we basically reinstantiate the game node. Yeah, so let's try to do that. So how come all my scenes
So you can scroll up, you just go. Can take the background food?
the background?
Yeah, background food. Well, there you go.
Okay, give me a second. Enemies. Okay, I think my editor has some problem, but okay, let's move on. Okay, so what I do is we create a new scene called and this is gonna just be a generic node. And this scene is called roots. Oh my god. Give me a second. You can just create a new scene and then create root node. Okay, I need to restart my editor because I think there's some bug in the editor.
Yeah, new scene in res is fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like mode. Okay.
Okay, so basically what I did was I created a root node, and this is root node. What I do is I instantiate Chelsea called the game node. And then what I want to do is this root node, when I play, what I do is right click and then set as main scene. So if I right click on the folder editor on the root scene, and then I'm gonna set this at main scene. So when I play, right, when you load the remote, the root node is gonna be root node, and then other root nodes are gonna be the game node. Right. So what you do is after the player dies, right, we're gonna restart the game. So to restart the game, we create a method inside the root node as oh my god. Okay. So the root node, what I do is we attach script to it. Let's call it root.gd. Why not? Okay. And then we create a function called restart game. And then what I do is we select the game node and then Q3. And then we want to reinstantiate the game node. So what I do is game cons game is equal to reload the game scene. Okay. And then okay, so what I do is our game is equal to game dot instantiate and then add child. Okay. Okay, this is the function that we're gonna call when in order to restart the game. Okay, so under player script, what I do is after the player dies, right, we're gonna set a timer that's gonna okay, actually what I won't do it, okay. Okay, so actually when it dies, right, what we Q3, okay, okay, let me comment this Q3 line out. And then what I do is I'm gonna attempt to get the root node and then gonna call the function restart game. So what I do is get parent dot get dot restart game. Yeah, okay, so let's try to run this and see whether it restart the game. Okay, let's try it out. I am having difficulty to try. Okay. Yeah, so you can see that the game is restarted, but it's kind of abrupt, right? Like we want to, let's say, have like a five seconds. Okay, let's say a 5 seconds break, and then it's gonna restart. So what we should do is in okay, in the root script, what we do is we should have a timer. So let's add child node called timer. And then let's name this as restart timer. And then this restart timer, what we do is we start. So instead of calling Q3 the game here, we gonna call this when the timer is timeout. So let's control X this, and then what I do is restart timer dot start, and then the restart timer under node timeout, and then under timeout we gonna restart the game. And this restart timer, let's inspect and see whether the properties are there. So we want to wait for 5 seconds. we want it to be one shot and we do not want it to auto start. Basically, we only want it to start when we want it to start. Okay, and remember when we have a 5-second delay, what we need to do is we also need to make sure that we queue free the player. So the player does not exist in the scene anymore. When the player script, what we're gonna do is we're gonna queue free the player. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so the player is gonna disappear, and then after 5 seconds, the game should restart. Yes. And then, so let's try to find bugs in this code by just dying one more time. And the bug is gonna appear. Yes, correct. So
I crashed on the first time.
Huh?
I crashed on the first time.
On the first one. Be able to run it for one time like this. Run function restart game in base window. Oh, because you need to run the root as the okay, now you're running game as a main scene. You run root as a main scene. So right click yeah, so you right click on the root or under folder.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
No, like you still need to it's not configured like that. Right click and then set as main scene.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that right.
Okay, fine.
He's a bit lost.
Oh. Huh.
Oh.
It's in range. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, actually, anyone has a question? This background script. Yeah, I know it's a bit confusing, especially if you haven't learned OOP.
Yeah. I'll show me your.
Yes.
Okay, you need to like right click on GD and or you clicked on the script by accident. You need to click on the scene. This one, not yeah, the one below. And then click as main scene. Now it will yeah.
Yeah, wait, you want to talk about this?
No,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, play script. Yeah, you need to do Q2.
No, it's not.
What?
You have
No.
I think that's I think
So that's the guy who for you one there. It was only 120. Hey, the guy who 100% less. Yeah. Okay. What is the guy?
Well, that's not. Oh yeah, I didn't connect the how do you put in the
Oh,
wait.
yeah.
What is range? Is this in range? That's what I
Yeah,
mean.
root
This is in range. It creates a new background.
Just remove this
So
part
what's
and
the
put an A in this because you don't. Okay, and remove this part then. No.
Yeah.
This part.
Where will it instantiate a new background?
No. Okay. Cut this and put it here, and then yeah. Look, this part is same as this part, so you just cut this and put it inside.
So where's this new background actually?
Oh. Okay. Okay, I see.
Or does the school give you this laptop?
What?
Yeah. Because this laptop is the same as the one that the school gives.
Same brand, but not.
Yeah, I saw these stickers.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't
the done very slow. I don't know.
Yeah. Probably used for just cheap parts.
I'm reading through the average. Then we
You feel ready to make a game now?
No.
No.
No one else will be representing Godot. Yeah. Would be third time in this month. Second time, yes, which is graphics all dance. Yeah.
Was it like a hackathon?
No, not. There will be hackathon in the future, but right now they just have part of the CCA that handles graphics all app and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think you give us like you just
The first time was sending hackers.
Oh, and you find
Oh,
because I was doing the
oh shit, it's 4 times. You are the first one. You're the first one.
Oh, okay, so I'm on.
So second time is yeah. And yes, hackers and third time is that one's all.
This will be the fourth time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to show you all something. Something called GameStart. It's a VS Code extension. Yeah. Maybe I'll put in the one.
Okay, so it gives you like contribution and stuff and stuff.
Besides that, yeah, so it does that. But last week it has the whole tree.
Okay, now you can see the tree. Okay. I think this is cool.
But VS Code can integrate this like Godot.
I think
I
it's-
can teach you all the
Radius.
Okay, so I guess download VS Code.
You could.
Yeah.
You just to do the branching.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll do it.
What?
GameStart. It's a very cool VS Code. Use it.
I mean,
Advantage is you don't need a sign up, which I don't like. I don't like giving my information. But so that's why I rather just use it. Yeah. You know, the most used ID in the world.
oh, you do have I think underscore says that and this way, this not is in range there. What? I mean, how do you get that is in range there?
Fix it. Very different.
It's not just
Of GDT, they also has something else to go thing. It goes through. It's a part of Genshin Impact.
Yeah, kind of.
then you know
Genshin Impact difference.
What's that?
The president of GDT is a fan of Genshin Impact.
No, he's the ex-president. The guy,
Yeah, because like when he came to NSEC, he gave you a plushie and he said this is a great Genshin Impact, right? And then he said
why
it is.
you know,
So I thought,
very different.
and the EC workshop.
was he
not of course, right? It's what
Yeah.
DSC?
And yes, he was there, but what is that?
The guy, right?
Yeah.
He did?
And you put a plushie in the press and you asked him because of the Genshin thing.
No, it wasn't a Genshin thing. It's called, it's a rent. It's his own personal pet. He's
okay.
obsessed with rent. Godot is no other.
Nice.
time which like you screenshot from these kind of games. Like, I think was like at first I played Destiny. I was just like the quick Destiny. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Then he told me I picked up Genshin. And he dropped Genshin for I think Warframe. Is it another gun? No, it's like now it's like Destiny 2 or like this grind type. Yeah. I think it was around my friend never got on. Just says I mean, the story is not really good. I mean, the story is you like the recommendation by honestly. My optical game was when I was recreating my story, felt like they are using Godot at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that. But like so many of the mechanics that felt like Godot.
Yeah.
I think you want to
Maple Story.
you want to
And
cool.
wait, how many Maple Stories are there now? There's Maple Story R2.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why
the background.
sorry to I think we did. It's sorry R. Which is the one
Okay, I
that
think I will just explain a little bit on
the parenting. It's sorry no. The R sucks. Yeah, okay, I can explain it on what I did in the background. So basically what
okay, this one is a bit of OP, but in case you're interested in what I'm doing and don't know what's happening in OOP, where is my background script? Background, image, background. Okay, this one. Okay, so what happens? Okay, the first line, right? Bar background is basically okay. This basically what I do is that's an object of background. Okay, like basically it's a background. That's gonna be a background. That's gonna be background field. So what I do is this background field, right? Initially I'm gonna attach this background point to the first instance of the background. And then what happens is I check whether this background is in range. So in case that it is in range, then I'm going to essentially, okay, in the new function, okay, let's draw a frame where the function is being called. This function call, okay, this is background object. And then, okay, this function call, right, there's a variable of new background. Okay, this new background, right, basically it points to the new background that is being instantiated. And then what I did was I set the version of this new background. This new background is going to be relative to the old background, which is the object view. Yeah. And then what I do is I erase this reference. And then this reference is going to point to the new background. And then the cycles.
So you assign a background to the new background.
Yeah. So basically I assign the reference. Okay, so is there anything else I need to go through? I think that should be it. Let me check. Let me check. Restart. Okay, restart game. Oh yeah, restart game. Wait, have I? Have I? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's still about. Okay. What about that? Yes. So let's investigate why is there that bug, right? So let's go back and okay, let's try die. Let's try to die. Okay. First time. Okay, second time. And then it's gonna crash. Yes, great. Okay, so why does it crash? Let's go to remote. Go to roots. And oh, look at this. This game is not named game. is a game something something something. So this happens when you reinstantiate the game. Basically, when you reinstantiate, right, you cannot assume the name of the new game. So how it crashed here, basically you see cannot call method Q3 on null value. So it's null value. Why? Because like you try to get node with the name game. Actually, there's no node name game. It's like game something something. So what you need to do is we need to keep the reference of the game so that when you Q3 the instance. So what you can do is var game, and then and then function. Okay, what we need to do is we need to attach this game to the to the first instance of the game when this root comes into the scene initially. So function ready, and then game is equal to game. So for the first instance, we can always assume that it's named game because that's how we instantiate the game, right? So game, and basically we just select the node called name game, and then what you do is okay, here we don't try to get node with the name. We use the instance that we attach, and then here we don't declare var. We just use the class field, which is we basically reassign the instance, and then add chop. Okay, let's try and see. Okay, die first time. And
Works.
then a second time. Yeah, so that should work.
It did.
Yeah, so we have come to the end of our workshops. Anyone has any question? Yes, no, yes, no, yes.
Okay, so level one, what does level one entirely entail?
Level one entire entail, you mean level one games? You mean like,
Yeah, I think that's happening next Thursday.
oh, basically it's
Or like
just
6
for,
people.
it's basically like you're trying to make game over the next half of the semester.
And that will be pretty much it for those who are part of positive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so like next Saturday, if you make a game or start.
Oh, this Saturday is gonna
Be a game jam. 10
is a
hours.
game jam. Is basically within that 10 hours you try and make and finish the game. And then the level one game is another game thing. So the level one game is the game you make over the next half of the semester.
You have to register
But
on
no, don't need. But the registration will tell you about that next week.
Do you need to register for the game jam? Actually,
The game
registration link
jam.
did come out.
Wait, Brennan.
Yeah.
I think the game jam registration link still not out, right?
you just come over there and you by scanning your QR code.
Oh yes. So you can just turn up on the day and then you register on the day itself.
Okay.
Therefore, level one is how you know when is it?
Oh, the level one game is over of the next half of the semester, so it's not a one-time event thing.
How do you know what team are?
Oh, what team is going to be announced next week?
More like your form.
Yeah.
Today, one here, because we already know what but we know that Adi whatever miss a single lesson of Godot, he will come back. that's my hope. So yeah, so we will form your own teams during the one game. Then that will be the thing that we'll be working on for the next half of the semester. Pretty easy, pretty chill, because we know that the semester will pick up in intensity. So that's why number one game for you to explore much more time to the game that you want. And have a large enough game to actually work evenly. Hopefully y'all can push out the game. Small one. Wait, you can actually show your game, your dragon game. That you made for the one
Oh yeah. Okay, but this
And for this game jam, what's the policy on stealing stuff from online?
again.
What's the policy of stealing assets online for this game jam?
No, I mean, if you okay, like you're not supposed to stick like let's say the property rights and then you somehow hack and then get that. Not that's not supposed to you. But let's say you use free asset, then you're supposed to credit the authors.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we don't actually because you're not making any money out of it. So long as you don't do that, like
Yeah, but I mean like we're gonna post the game onto our page.
You post it on HIO, right?
Yeah.
Then,
I mean, if you anyhow use and you never credit, then we are gonna be the one responsible for it.
Yeah.
But so please be responsible for your own games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think on Saturday there will be more people coming. I definitely know like at least 3 of my friends coming. So.
Yeah, I got a lot of art and music people. I went over there. Lot. Like I could count like 20 people in the art workshop.
How are there so many more people than Godot workshop?
Yeah, maybe even more people in the team.
Oh,
I'm going to be the only programmer on.
I think I got
No, I confirm that Saturday got more people. I know like a lot more people not coming. So
Hopefully.
yeah, don't have to worry about it.
Set one was around like 30 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone want to try playing my game?
So,
Yes.
what are the controls? What are the controls?
What are the what? Oh, the controls. There will be a tutorial, so don't the game. This one.
Yep. Hey guys, welcome to my playthrough of Guardian of the Dreamy World.
I think you can do slow down.
Okay, yeah, full screen.
And then full speed.
That's the Asian difficulty. Okay, you know what? Actually, I kind of know why there's an Asian difficulty.
Actually, I think I disable yes. If not, it might be very distracting. Exit. Okay. Great. Okay, and then full screen.
Okay, yeah, click. Okay.
The dragon. There you go. Ooh. Okay.
That's a Z, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your
Oh God.
you got to the gate, right? So that's the gate out here. Eli, one down the you can do it. Okay, so it just allow you like this. Yeah, okay. Oh. Maybe how long do you want it? I just want to tell them like how to so you have a 2 minutes to play the game.
Speedrun! Why the hell is the climbing not working?
Can you use the arrow?
I know I was not pressing up. I was not pressing up. I'm used to a different keyboard.
Oh.
Got that. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go down.
I can't jump off walls. I want to like pretend to be a game YouTuber reviewer on YouTube, but I can't think of anything that just die. This is the end of my playthrough. Let's skip. Actually, I can't die. There's too much HP. Yeah.
Come.
Yep.
Oh yeah. So basically, that's the game. So did we hit? Okay. So now Brandon will be running through the Gits. Oh yes.
People who can't come today. Okay, then at least they got recorded.
Yes. Wait. Participant invite. Copy. Wait.
Yeah. Or you know, send me privately. So that people don't question my age, but no.
Wait, I need to wait. Unshare my screen first. Stop sharing. Okay. The invitation link.
On the actual this is my on this I use my real life account for like which has my real name attached to it. On my Discord app I use my actual account.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean this is just for real life.
Wow.
It's
So basic. Oh, okay. Wait, I don't see you yet.
The Zoom is taking forever.
This one.
It's automated.
This actually looks even more back. It looks like infinitely going. Is it, doesn't it?
Okay, I'm Chan going.
I want to make you co-host. I'll make co-host.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, co-host. Okay.
You want to
Yeah, I'll be using it. Okay. I'm gonna screen share to my Git graph on my GitHub desktop. Okay, so still recording, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yeah, I'm back. I'm Brandon. I was the ex Godot workshop head last time, and I was also doing an electrical engineering and computer engineering workshop, whereby I use Git in a short while. So here's a run through of how a project would be like. This briefing is to tell you all about Git and how you can use it to facilitate projects a little better next time. We'll also be posting a recorded video by one of our members, one of our exco members last time, who made a long video talking about Git. She made a very nice video and it's very concise, so I'll recommend it. But for now, I'd like to introduce you to Git and GitHub. So Git is a version control software. It is basically the software that allows you to keep track of changes. So locally, Git is actually just an offline software, whereas GitHub is actually a cloud service, a website that allows you to host Git. Now, what Git does, right, unlike most other software that allows you to record changes. So let's say you have like one project video, and then you send that project video on Telegram or Google Drive to everyone else, and everyone else downloads that video. Now, let's say you want to append 10 seconds of your recording onto that video. Now, I want to tell all your group members that you have this new video. You have to upload that 2 GB and long video onto the Google Drive and ask everyone to download their whole 2 gigabytes, for example. And then they had to wait 15 minutes to download the changes and bloat their computer with another 2 gigabytes, whereby they have to delete the old version. So that means that, hold on, I'm being called. Okay, so that means that, sorry, distracted. So that means that what you're doing is that you're actually just uploading the whole thing. So why not you have a system whereby you can just take note of the changes only. So to do that, we have Git basically. And what Git does is instead of uploading the whole file, it only uploads the changes. So for example, I have this file over here. Okay, this is just a history. So this is my history of changes I made. So for example, I initialize my game and I put all these files in there. So that's the change. From nothing, I created a project, and therefore all these changes are recorded down. Currently it's not, yeah, here it's loading. So all these are changes. All the game's scripts and project files. Then afterwards, I made some changes. For example, I wanted to add a player scene, a script. So the player script would include something like this: a player scene, and then afterwards, later we'll be adding a player script. Okay, so I added player movement, and the important one you want to see here is this change. So I added a script and all these were changed. Then afterwards, I added player movement. To note that change, what Git does is that they'll take all the lines that you deleted, mark them in red, and they take all the lines that you added and mark them in green. In this case, Git only needs to remember these few lines rather than the whole file. Git only needs to store a few kilobytes, whereas having to upload the whole project will take you a few gigabytes, maybe. So that's one advantage. So some of you already might have heard of me talking about this, but the thing I want to show you today is something that will be quite useful, perhaps a useful tool. You know that Git is the software that runs almost every single open source software out there, including Godot. So if you take a look at Godot, later I'll show y'all. But if you take a look at Godot, there'll be a lot of people working on it at the same time, much like when you are working on your level 1 game or your game jam game. In this case, this is something called Git Graph. It's an extension that you can find in VS Code, the most popularly used IDE in the whole world, used by almost 70% of all professional and learning developers, according to the Stack Overflow survey.
Stack Overflow Exchange, the ultimate website.
Yes, the website that all CS people cannot live without. So if you want to find it, you can just look at Git Graph on VS Code. And what it gives you is that this very nice graph looking thing. So it takes note of who does what and what is supposed to and when they did it. So this is done in chronological order. And you notice that this is all the commits I made, just like in the GitHub desktop app that you can use in Windows and Linux and even in macOS. But if you want to, you also can use VS Code simply for this feature. This extension is amazing. And what you can do is that you can do the time traveling thing I was talking about back then in the previous workshop. So what you can do is that you can time travel back in Git because they record all your changes, right? So what Git needs to do is just take back all the changes and put in all the things that you removed, and then you can time travel. So what time traveling is called checkout. So you want to check out, you check out this, and they'll call each commit a hash. Okay, so I'll check out, and what you notice is that screw it up. Okay. Okay, so let me go back to here, for example. I think should be written by checkout. Please commit your stash. Oh yeah, because I uncommitted changes. Okay, so notice that you cannot time travel so long as you have any uncommitted changes. This applies the same for GitHub Desktop as well. So what you want to do is that you want to get rid of all your changes first. Now this is irreversible, so be careful. If, for example, you want to save your changes, what you can do is that you can click on this and you can do something called a stash. Okay, when you stash something, you have to call it with a message. So I said I'll add a add-on for Git. This is what all these changes are for. Name it concisely so that you can remember what it is, what it stands for. After stashing everything, which will remove all the current changes that I have at the moment, it will take a while. Then it will come up here as a stash. Okay, and all these stash will tell me all the things that I removed. Okay, I don't know why this is not removing, so I'm just gonna delete everything. Okay, so now I have no uncommitted changes. It will refresh after a while, and now I have no more uncommitted changes, which means that I can time travel back. So now I'm going to go forward. Okay, so notice that this looks a bit weird. It's like as if I committed this. So this means that main, right, or origin is local. It is the system, your computer. All Git can do, right, is actually just on your computer. But what GitHub can do is that GitHub can take those changes locally on your computer and they can push it onto their cloud service so that everyone else can use it. What this cloud is, right, is called the origin. Okay, what your local computer is called master. Okay, so origin means that the version or currently the head of the branch, which is the latest commit in the branch, the head of GitHub is the same as your head in your local service, local machine. So let's check out something. Let's time travel backwards to before I made mob spawning. In doing so, my Godot would have different changes. So if you take a look at my file system, everything that was here, for example, the things I changed, such as the mob and the spawn point, because I added spawn points, right? So if you take a look at my folder and you take a look at mobs, the spawn point scene is gone. That's because I time traveled and removed the file that I added. So that means you can freely time travel to anywhere you want. And that is very helpful for finding bugs or perhaps reversing something you didn't want to do. Okay. So that is what checkout is. You can, in GitHub, in Git graph, you can double click on a branch like this tag, and you can move checkout to where the branch head is. Okay, so now we can move on to something called branches. Usually when you want to create a commit, right? Like let's say you have two people working on something. Okay, then what you need to do is that this other person wants to make a feature such as navigation, for example. So what he would do is that he will create a branch, and he should do that, or something is gonna happen, which is called a conflict. If the person, right, makes some changes, such as he goes to the player scene, and then he says print, for example, like pp poo poo or something. And then he saves it. So what Git does, right? Okay, this is what Git does in the backend. It records your change, and he tells me that I have added this line over here. So what this means is that this person, my teammate, has made a change. And if he commits it, right, which is what I'm going to do, he's going to say, I am very smart or something. Like this teammate is very annoying. You'll hate his teammate. The guy is going to, yeah, some stage changes. Okay, so I'm going to stage a change, which means that I'm going to make the change. Oops, I did something. Okay, here we go. Okay, save, come back. Stage a change. Okay, now stage a change means that I want to make this a commit. So this guy sucks. He doesn't make a good commit message, and he's gonna put it onto your GitHub. I mean your Git, sorry. So imagine this GitHub. Okay. I'm not gonna push this, or else this is gonna be staying my record on GitHub. Okay, but imagine he does push this. Then what he does is that he's gonna put this commit. Then, for example, you're gonna make another commit over here that says instead like I like or something like and then he's gonna someone else is gonna stage a change, and then someone else is gonna commit and say that I added the best line here, and the guy is gonna commit as well. So what's gonna happen is that you guys have made two commits, and it's gonna be two commits at once being pushed. Usually if these two lines are conflicting, for example, here is one, and then another one is over here. Okay, is that this guy removed the one? Okay, for example, but what's going to happen is that these two lines are going to cause a conflict, and that you have to resolve the conflict on the branch. Okay, so rather than doing that, right, I'm going to delete these two comments because they are stay on my representation. I'm going to drop it. You can drop it if it's local. If I pushed it, I'm screwed. Okay, you cannot reverse anything that's online. Just like when you post, like, I don't know, some embarrassing photo of yourself on social media, You can't reverse it. It's gonna be stay there forever. So make sure that before you push, your commits are good. So I can drop those messages so long as I didn't push. Push means that I'm going to upload it to GitHub. Pull means that I'm gonna download it from GitHub. Okay, so what you should do instead is that you should, from main, right, I'm gonna create a new branch. Okay, where's my create branch? Okay, here you go. And I'm gonna call it like branch not having spaces. So you say like enemy spawning. Okay, so you use dashes to concatenate all your words, and then you check out. Oh, you actually don't need. Okay, let me demonstrate. So I create a branch. Look at the bottom left. That shows which branch you are currently at now. So what is this? Okay, I created a branch, but it doesn't like spring out here. What's this talking about? Okay, this is just Git graph compressing the way that they show you how commits are made. In this way, they have the branch right being compressed here. What this actually means is that they actually have another branch. So later, when you actually have a commit on the branch, right, then it will actually show a different thing. Okay, so now I'm on enemy spawning, as you can see from the bottom left, or you can see from here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a change. I'm going to go to player GD, and I'm going to do something like speed becomes like 9,000 or something. Okay, then you will notice I'm going to stage the change. I'm going to commit, and I'm going to say add change player speed. Okay, so if I commit, it's safe to do so long as I don't push. You're asking me to publish the branch and push, but no. Then what you notice is that this has advanced. It's still blue because you are actually having no changes, no difference from the previous branch. But let's say I am on main. I'm on main and I want to make a change that I for sure know that everyone would use. For example, I'm going to change the health to 1000. I'm on main now. I'm going to commit and say I changed the health. Then I stage the commit. I commit. What you notice now is that the graph shape changes. Okay. What this is trying to show you, okay, the stash, by the way, I'm going to drop the stash to prevent confusion. But what this shows is that there are two branches. One is main, and another one is a deviant enemy spawning branch. Okay, so what this does is that this player branch, right, has a change that changes the speed. This one changes the health. However, on the enemy spawning branch, I don't have the change yet because the enemy spawning branch was based off this commit, the latest commit here. The time, the checkpoint here had no change about player health. It was still 100. But here, I changed the speed, and here I advanced from the one that didn't have the player speed being 9,000, and I changed the health. So now you have two different commits, two different versions. To make them the same, right, what you do is something called a git merge. Okay, so what git merge does is that usually you go onto the branch that you want the changes to be put from. In other words, you want to download the changes. Okay, to do that, you go to the main branch, the branch that you want to be the main, usually the master branch, basically, and then you merge you merge that branch that you want into the current branch. Currently, I'm on main, so I want to merge this enemy spawning branch into my current branch. To do that, they'll ask you a bunch of stuff. You can do this in GitHub Desktop as well. But here I'm just demonstrating Git graph because much conflict in player scenes. Okay, so yeah, sometimes your changes will conflict. For example, here they will show you something called merge conflict. If you notice, in my enemy spawning, my player health was 100. In my main scene, my player health was 1000, but my player speed was 300. Was it 300? Yeah, 300. So that means now Git doesn't know who to listen to. It is up to you to manually resolve it. Here, there are two changes. You can accept this change, which would make the current branch, basically, it would follow the main branch. Or you can accept the incoming branch, which is the 9001. Or you can accept both. But be careful, you redeclared the variable. Oh, you have to resolve it yourself. I want the 9000 health one. I get rid of this line. And I want the 1000 health one. I get rid of this line. Oh, you have resolved the conflict. And to do that, all you need to do is to show you the merge changes. You stage the merge changes, and then you commit, and they'll auto fill it up for you to say that you have merged the branch. So now I've resolved the conflict, I committed, and now my branch looks like this. Okay, I merged the branch. Now everything is back into harmony. There are no multiverses, there are no non-canon events, and therefore everything is back to normal. Now you can envision that if you have many members, you have many branches. Everyone should work on a different branch. Don't always work on the main branch because you're going to cause a merge conflict that will anger your teammates. So yes, create new branches and have someone called the maintainer to resolve those conflicts while also communicating with the group members who made those changes so that you don't accidentally delete something. Okay. And yeah, that runs, that shows my, why is the screen sharing paused? Okay. Anyway, that ends my presentation for Git. Hopefully everything was recorded. If not, you can refer to NG's video. Okay. And yeah, that's it for today. I will stop the recording. Thank you. And that's the end of GameStart. Thank you all for coming and hope you have learned a lot. Yay. Wasn't recording? Okay.